adjust. Recording in progress.
Please.
Fullerton,
Here.
Christensen,
Present.
Chin,
Here.
Newman,
Here.
Rodriguez,
Yeah,
Present.
Brummett.
Here.
you didn't call me.
I'll stand for the
Here.
pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There are no absent council members, and therefore we can move into public comment. Anybody for public comment?
Evening, everyone. I'm Don Sylvie from Charlotte. Thank you all for serving on the council. Your dedication is unbelievable. It's not an easy job. Couple comments regarding last week's meeting. I was sitting in the back row. It was almost impossible to hear. I know your sound system is in transition, but if you can remember the back row, try and speak to the back row so we can hear. Concerning the search for a new city manager, I felt I needed to say something because in my view it's imperative that you hire a professional search firm. That's something I do on the school district side of the world. Search firm has important networks, and they network with managers in the field, and they can help recruit. They'll conduct background checks. You usually know who is available and who can do a good job and who has a good track record. Council is not trained in searches or interview procedures. A search without a dedicated professional will take months longer, usually twice as long. Simply posting a job on your own leaves out that recruiting function, which is critical. At the same time there's a vacancy, your budget process will be moving along, and decisions affecting hundreds of thousands of dollars will need to be made, and they're going to go unmonitored if you don't have a professional, a strong professional in the seat. So if this is a long-term absence, it's going to be very challenging. I talked about the cost last time. The search cost for a professional will likely be about 1/10 of 1% of your budget. If you look at your $20 million budget, 1/10 of 1%, that's pennies on the dollar in relation to what you're going to get. On another point, I continue to recommend you seek training and guidance from Michigan Municipal League to sort out manager versus the role of the council members, so we can keep a manager longer than 1.5 years. The word crisis was used, and I think we have a crisis, and the crisis is inability to keep a single professional manager for more than 1.5 years. It's still a mystery to most of us why and what happened behind the scenes that Rob's leaving. I hope you consider these words, and based on my over 50 years of experience in business management, I again commend you and thank you for your work. Thank you.
Thank you. In the back, are we louder back there now than we were? Is it louder? Still not loud in the back. Ron's here. That's what he's doing, is working on things, so. Test, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi there.
Me?
Richard Deere, resident of the city. Just very briefly, I'll monitor as much as I could of your last meeting. The part I think I am wondering about is Rob's list of recommendations, as it's been referred to. I'm afraid I didn't think that the council really took it as seriously as I think you really should. Any mention about the next city manager has to take on whatever is their own. There's a huge resource lying in front of them on those 2 pages that Rob wrote. And I really urge you to treat every one of those items that he listed as very serious. That's the closest thing we're going to have to an exit interview, and on the start of trying to figure out how we can maintain the longevity of our city managers. Thank you very much.
Anybody else in the audience for public comment? How about anybody online? Nobody online? Have the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Just for clarity, because it's just a special meeting, we wouldn't be able to add anything to the agenda anyway, because that's against the charter. The only thing we can discuss is what is posted. And so we have 2 items that have been posted. The first one is to discuss the permanent city manager selection committee report and a direction to proceed and how to select a city manager. So out of Mr. Scott, Mr. Rodriguez, and Mr. Christensen, those 3 on the committee, I don't know who's going to take the lead, but by this evening, I need to know who's the chairman of that committee.
Anthony.
We didn't necessarily appoint a chairman, but is that fine? I'm happy to do it.
I'm good.
I'd like to think we all work as a team, so. I have a email from Mr. Christensen that I had not had a chance to read. Monday is busy day for my karate school, so it looks like some things may have changed on your end. Of course, you guys have all seen my report. I laid it out pretty clearly. Basically, we met, but really there's decisions that had to be made by all of council, and so we came back to look at a couple options that we had looked at. It is my opinion that we should definitely move to find an interim very quickly. That should be like this meeting, we do that, we move forward, looking for a person to get in here. My recommendation, or my thought is they come in fairly quick, maybe even get a week or, something to work with Rob, if that's even possible. And to not promote from within to do the job, just because they already have enough to do. I don't think we need to give a department head more of that to do. So that's my thought there. And then Mr. Christensen had been doing his research on options for possibly doing the hiring within. I know the first time this was ever brought up, I heard it was from Mr. Chin here. Mr. Chin was initially very adamant that, hey, we should maybe look into doing it ourselves, and he ended up flipping his vote on that, and ended up deciding that at the time we should go with an interim. I didn't know if Mr. Chin had permanently changed his thoughts on that, or if that was just his feeling at the time. So that's where I stand, and I would probably say turn it over to Mr. Christensen to see what his thoughts are at this time.
Okay. I actually have changed my mind. I've spent a lot of time looking at this over the past weeks, and as much as I think we are fully capable of finding the right fit for the city, there are just way too many legal pitfalls between the beginning of the search and by the time we hire someone. One misstep can really ultimately cost us a lot, and I don't, based on the list of all the things we can do wrong, I'm going to certainly support that we do the RFP and locate a firm. My only hope is with the firm is that when we do reach out, I hope, I've been looking around. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've been looking around the state, looking at what different cities are paying, what their structures are. And I'm looking at it because I want to see how the longevity is. If I see a city that's had 4 city managers in the last 5 years, I don't really like their structure very well. But the ones where we have village managers and assistant managers that have the 3, 4, 5, 6 years in grade and they're ready to take that step up, there's a lot of them out there. And I'm hoping at such time as if we do go with a search firm, that we are able to perhaps be able to give them input and maybe even throw some, I guess it depends on how the search firm's gonna work, but I know I certainly have some ideas of some really, I think would be very good fits here. And I would like to make sure that the firm is aware of them, because when they do their reach out plus their advertising, want to make sure we get out to everybody we possibly can. So, so I'm going to concur with Mr. Scott and Mr. Rodriguez that we recommend that we go with the search firm.
That's right.
Yeah, and when I had wrote this, I had mentioned at the time that I was personally undecided. I too had looked up, and it seemed to me that there were many possible liability issues that you could run into along the way. They were really stacking up. I wanted to give Mr. Christensen a fair shot to kind of explain what it would look like to do, but also given the fact that I am running a business, I think if we were going to do this in-house, I would have to personally step down. I'm not sure I'd have the time to actually commit to that as much as possible. Mr. Christensen has been very aware of spending more taxpayer dollars to find somebody. And so the fact that he's come to this conclusion that I've come to, which is there's really just liability I don't think we want to mess with, and also in a discussion with Mr. Hillard, he had mentioned that as a candidate looking for a position and looking at someone that was trying to do it in-house on their own, especially with not having a full HR department and everything, that could really be a mess and would sort of be a red flag for a new city manager. So I guess at this time, it's our recommendation that we definitely move to, or at least it'd be my recommendation that we move to put out an RFP and look at some possible firms we could hire.
Scott?
With Jeff's announcement, that puts us in heated agreement on the process. I think as soon as possible is what we're looking for, to hire a professional firm, as Don says.
If somebody wants to put a motion on the floor, then
Okay. I motion that we hire a professional firm to.
Second.
For interim manager.
no, for the full-time
For
manager,
the full-time manager, yeah,
permanent manager.
permanent manager.
So his motion is that we hire a firm for the permanent city manager, and you're seconding it. Yes. Discussion. Mr. Christensen.
The interim is going to be looked at by a different or potential, it won't be us, we'll be on we'll remain on the new city manager, okay, perfect.
Mr.
We gonna set any guidelines for now that we know we have a chairman of that committee? And then also, as far as the fact that they're going to suggest that we do a firm, as far as trying to get a deadline with this? Or is this going to progress through a few more meetings before we get to that point?
I would say that we need to get the motion passed. That's the way we're going to do it, and then I'll give you the guidelines of what we can follow with.
I was just wondering if the motion need to include that, but okay. All right.
Ken?
Yeah, the question I have, and it's not in the motion, is whether or not we're going to do a formal bid process like we did the first time. And if so, we should include that in the motion.
It's required anyway
Yep.
to do a formal process. The purchasing manual will stand up for that.
Yeah. Well, remember, we raised the limit to $20,000 before they have to do a formal bid, but And,
They still have to do
yeah.
written quotes. so
Right.
That'll be something that has to come back to council. If it's over 20.
Yep.
I would hope it wouldn't be over 20.
No. It was 9, I think, or 9 or 10 last time, so.
Any more discussion on the motion that we hire a firm to look for a permanent city manager? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So, and this is how that will play out, is that because we are short in the clerk's office, if we had a clerk, we could actually have her head that up, but the problem you run into sometimes, if you think about the city, and we've talked about this before, that a manager is the CEO and the council is the board of directors. The board of directors in a big company, they don't have the ability even to sign a check because they don't work for the company. They're just board of directors. Somebody who is an employee of the city has to head this up, has to have their fingers on it. The RFPs will go out from that person. They'll come back to that person. And then if we get a firm, then the firm will come before the council and be interviewed, and we'll decide which firm we want, depending on the cost. But we got to get 3 quotes, if at all possible, from 3 different firms, even if it is less than, even if it's less than 20,000, we still need to get those quotes. So that would be the city manager's job to send those out. And what I would assume is that you committee people would meet with the manager first and say, hey, this is what we're looking for. Can you send this out? And this doesn't have to be an on-fire search. If we can get an interim in here, we'll be just fine. And then you guys can take some time to figure this out rather than try to shove it through. Mr. Shin?
Oftentimes, once we hire the search firm, they will also know managers out there that are looking for just interim jobs. And the last time, I think Mr. Bell and Mr. Terry were, in fact, suggested or recommended by the search firm because they knew that they were looking for interim jobs. So that will be helpful for them to also provide that. The other thing is that, it was discussed in terms of department heads' input, that, we make sure that we do have a meeting with the department heads so they can input what they're looking for. And that way you have that in front of you at the time that we talk to firms, so that they know what our recommendations are for the hiring of a manager. I think it's important that they know that. And the idea of having input from the department heads, I think, is a good one, so that we keep them happy as well.
It's a good idea. My only comment to that would be that, just to make this clear, the next thing we're going to talk about is an interim manager. And my hopes is that if we form that committee, that will start immediately, and maybe as soon as tomorrow or the next day.
Right.
Looking. And I think the RFP will take a week or 2 to even send out, and a week or 2 to get back. So you're almost looking at the time Mr. Hillard will not be here by that. Right. So the plan is, that's why we're looking at 2 committees. Mr. Rodriguez.
Mr. Mayor, is it okay if I address Mr. Brummett's question that he had asked? I know it was partially addressed. Can I address that further about limits on the committee?
Sure.
So obviously, it's not on the agenda today to discuss necessarily the committee, but before you got on, something that was made very clear by everyone on council was that the committee is not to take off in any direction without the full support of the committee and a vote. So while I would welcome any kind of limiting, I think actually limiting committees in the future, and even this one, is fine. I would at least like to let you know that I committed to that. As chair, I'm committed to that. Even as we move forward with finding a firm, the goal is not for us 3 to sit down and tell the city manager, this is what we want. We will work to schedule the meeting so that way that firm, after it's decided, will come in and we can tell that firm what we're looking for, what we want to see. because I do not want to mess where three of us take off in a direction that the rest of everybody else doesn't want to go. And so I'm fully 100% committed to that. It's more like the busy work that we will be getting done. Let's make sure we get them in front of us. When they pass on information to us, make sure that gets back to all of council concerns. And I also have some information I'll give you before we leave today that kind of lays out how a previous group did this process. So you can kind of see, I'm sure most of them have the same kind of timeline. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to add, I know the charter addresses this in some way too, but there are some requirements that we have to meet. The charter says so. But there are other parameters too, and I suspect that we'll probably discuss it as a committee and we'll meet as a council to kind of get those parameters set as to what we're going to present to the search firm that we're looking for. I think that I'm thinking that's the correct process. Because there's different there's different levels of experience of people out there. I suspect we're going to get people once this process is rolling that are currently looking for work. There's going to be some that are going to see the search firm's advertisement, and I believe there's some people out there that right now have no idea they want to be the city manager, Shalat, but I can see that they're going to be interested. So I think we have to narrow those parameters down, kind of what we're looking for. And are we looking for 30 years of experience? Are we looking for 5 to 10? Are we, how are we going to fit all this together? How does it fit in with our future a little bit? There's some things we got to look at. So, and by having an interim, that's going to afford us the time to invest in this to make sure that we do this perfectly, or as perfect as we possibly can.
Mr. Mayor? So we're kind of in between item A and B here now?
Correct.
We've already decided unanimously to move forward with getting a firm in place? Yep. So this discussion is simply just discussion? Yep. But at the same time, it's clear to myself at all that we're going to hire a firm. All I was asking is that if we were going to set a time frame in which the firm was going to be before us, the three options or better that we're going to have, because the guidelines of which we're looking for candidates is a whole nother matter. The firm is the firm, and if we're getting three different firms to choose from, that's all we're looking for, as I understand what we just voted on.
That's correct.
Okay, so any of those discussions on who we're trying to choose and how we're going to choose them is well after we determine which firm, and then in addition to that, we also have to give guidelines, but we also need to pick the firm before we give guidelines.
Correct.
Okay, so
You got it.
the cart and the horse and all that good stuff, so I'm clear on all that. I just want to make sure that you guys know that I totally understand how that works.
It's more of a process than what most people think. And like I said, we have nobody at City Hall really, other than our manager who's going to be leaving, to kind of get this thing geared up. And if we had a full-time clerk and or had at least two clerks instead of only one, then we could put a lot of that onto her. But we can't do it. So the manager's going to do it. We're going to get some RFPs out. We'll get some firms to choose from, and then this council will have to choose a firm. Once that gets done, then the firm will be here, and you'll have a chance with somebody standing over there to say, this is the type of manager I might want or might think is good, or whatever. Or this is who's available, and this is who isn't available. And those things will all come up after we get a firm hired. First thing first, you guys need to meet with the manager, get an RFP out, and get it back to the council as quick as you can. And hopefully, by the end of this month, we can be choosing the firm. That only gives you 3 weeks. So it's going to be tight if you're lucky. But if you don't get it done, then, but as Mr. Sovey said, we would be running into a roadblock if we tried to do this ourselves, especially at this time. We need somebody that's a professional to do all the questions that we can't answer, the questions, all that stuff has to be done. So we got to get a firm first. And how many are out there? I have no idea. Probably 10, maybe, that would do a city manager search. Okay? Everybody clear? We're going to let the committee, you're not picking a firm for us, obviously. You're just giving us some choices. Hopefully within 3 weeks. Okay? Mr. Chen?
Yeah, I do have the list of firms that bid and who had proposals sent to them. So I can email it to you, Anthony, and that way you can, it'll start. Yeah, you were with me at the time that we did that, so,
Okay, I can send those to everybody.
yeah.
Okay, any other comments on that? Move to the next item is the, consider a mayor's recommendation to form an interim city manager selection committee. The mayor, another council member, the current city manager, and all city department heads. That's where the department heads would get involved. That's my suggestion, kind of from the last meeting, but we couldn't do anything about it because we didn't have it on the agenda. So that's why it's tonight. And again, my hope is that we would be able to start looking tomorrow or the next day and see who's available. And if we were really lucky, we'd have somebody here at the next meeting, so we don't have to call a special meeting, as our clerk likes to lynch me if she has to go to another special meeting, so. Isn't that right, Mrs. Clerk?
I would make a motion to consider the mayor's recommendation as it was written, with the exception that it's no longer December, Mr. Mayor. It said December 5th on 2026 on your memo. I think that's just because we're coming into the new year. But that's because I read it. If I didn't read it, I couldn't tell you that. But that is my motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded to form the committee for an interim city manager. Any discussion on that I haven't done for you?
Or just remind me who's on that?
That'd be myself, Councilman Brummett, the current city manager, and all the city department heads.
My discussion on the matter, now that we're to that point, is that I think it's a great recommendation. I think that's how teams work well, is when the people who are actually playing the game or working for the city, in this particular example, get a little bit of a say in what it is that makes their life easier or more difficult. And so it's an opportunity for them to legitimately air the challenges before them when it comes to finding their boss. Although, we make that final decision, but we don't want to make their job any more difficult than it already is, I don't believe.
And again, that committee will have no hiring power, so the department heads are not going to hire their own boss. I've heard that story before, and that's not true. It's all got to come back here to the council. Hopefully, we can get a couple of people at least to interview. That's how we did it the last time, and we hired him that night, and we made a salary deal with him that very same night and put him to work the next day. I wish that we could do that, but somebody's available. So, any other discussion?
I just want to say I'm really happy to see the department heads on the list. That was important to them. They've described that to us, and so great. Looks great.
You haven't said a word, Mr. Newman.
I think everything is great as well, so
We just wanted to make sure that you could speak.
I can speak.
Gonna get you on record.
All right, all those in favor of the forming the committee, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We'll get to work tomorrow. Public comment.
So one thing I didn't hear mentioned in the discussion was, what is the job description? So if I were to search for him, I'd say, well, send me the job description. Well, I have to press the button.
You do.
All right, he took care of me. So thank you. So what is the job description? Got to have it. In my world, absolutely necessary. Oftentimes, school superintendents might not have a job description. I would think city managers do. If you haven't seen one, you should develop one, and Rob would be the best person to help you develop one or review one. So I suggest that as another step here.
Any other public comment from the audience? Jody Pruden online? Hey, Jody, go ahead. Jody Pruden, are you there? We'll give our technician just a second to see if he can find.
Okay, you got me
Jody,
now?
are you there?
All right, so my idea is that I was hoping maybe we would consider having the department heads put their information in writing and give it to you. That way, when you meet with them, if there's somebody who's conflicting and they don't want to bring it up in the meeting, that you would still have information on both of them from both of them, and it wouldn't create any discrepancies or any animosity between differences in how some of the department heads feel. That's all for today. Thanks.
We're going to get a transcript.
So we could hear back there, but we can't hear out here. I don't have a way to correct it.
Did you let her know that, call in next week and do it?
I can't talk to her out here. You
Oh.
have to talk to her through there. Just let her know.
Jody, we can't hear you, so we'll have to have you call in next week and remind us what you said for this week, okay? All right.
Can you hear me now?
Staff comments. We only have one staff member here. Mayor and council, we're quickly. Where did we start last week? We'll start down here this week.
Very quick, thanks for everyone that attended and watching online. As you can tell, the sound's getting a little better. I think every week we just keep making a little progress. So hopefully in the next week or two, we'll have everything good to go. Just wanted to mention, we attended the fire department awards banquet and dinner Saturday night. We had a great time. The hall was full, no question about that. They did a wonderful job putting it on, and we just want to thank them for the invite. That's it.
Mr. Newman.
Just again, reiterating, thanks for everybody out here in the audience and online. Just kind of getting my feet wet here in a second meeting and, so just kind of absorbing it all and figuring out what's going on and that sort of thing. So.
Thank you for all those that are reaching out with challenges and concerns. Remember that the best approach is for you to go to the city manager when and if you have any challenges and attend the meeting. We have no problem letting you speak at the podium for up to 5 minutes. Appreciate all the hard work from everyone out there, and think about every time you might find some flaw with anything, look for a positive thing, and let's talk about the positive things that we have to offer as a city. I appreciate all of you, and have a good evening.
Mr. Scott.
I just want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank Don personally for reminding me that I had an important meeting tonight to show up to. So, but I have a lot of people at my house, and we are celebrating Christmas. So, anyway, I got to thank you for that. I have every confidence that we're going to resolve this fairly quickly, just because we don't want to lose momentum. We take this extremely seriously, and we'll let you know as we learn things. Thank you.
Mr. Chen.
Yeah, again, I want to thank the fire department for the invitation and to their Christmas party. It was a great event. I also I would be remiss as a newly appointed board member of the MML Elected Officials Academy that, there are, and also we have a lot of online training that we've gone to, so that you don't even have to leave your house for that training. They also have programs that they'll come to you, and certainly the idea of having some training, some additional training would be beneficial. So as we move along, keep that in mind. And also the fact that MML also they do searches as well. And they're pretty knowledgeable of what's going on out there. And certainly after the holidays, now that we're in, the number of city manager, people looking for city managers has gone up tremendously from that standpoint. And so we're going to have a challenge with the number of cities that are looking for new managers. And the other is, of course, the pay scale, because we can't compete against some of the bigger cities. We're hampered by that, and so we've got two challenges in front of us. So hopefully we can get over those and get a manager in here at the caliber that we had. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez.
All right, couple things. One, it was mentioned, Mr. Hillard's list and taking it very serious. Thank you for that. I intend to take it very serious. It's interesting that we are in a situation here where our city manager is leaving, and the new city manager will have that list readily available to them. I expect them to look at that list, and who knows, they may slightly differ on some of the things or maybe have different ideas. And I think as council, we should definitely say to the next city manager, hey, is there some things that would help you as a city manager? Are there policy changes or things that we can work on to make it better? So definitely gonna take that serious. Developing a job description was also mentioned. I've done this a couple times in the past, and when we had a firm, they did pretty well to help us work through that. They sent out questionnaires to all the city council members, where each of us were able to lay out kind of what we were looking for in a city manager, and then that firm kind of gathered all that information, and then typically we had a meeting after that where they said, okay, this is what I gathered from all of you. Is this correct? So that hopefully the next firm will be able to do that as well. I imagine they would be. The fire department banquet, that was my first time in attendance. I did get an invitation in the past. It went from my mailbox to my table, and then I think I had friends over, and I'm like, get this stuff off my table. And it ended up on a shelf, and I found it later. I thought I was never getting invited, but I did get invited. But I made it this year. It was great. I really enjoyed that, and so I appreciate the invitation. I also want to thank our fire and police. There was an incident that happened a few weeks back. I'm not going to get all into it, but those guys, they have to really face a lot of tough things that we sometimes never see, never notice. And so I want them to know that I definitely do appreciate you guys. I'm very thankful for what you do for the community and for the city. It's great to have such an amazing, dedicated staff and team that looks out for us. So, last thing, let's talk about moving seats. Okay, I need that plug right there. So I object to moving from this seat. Although I think Mr. Christensen's got a nice seat too. So if I can have his, then fine, I'll trade. That's it. Thanks.
I think you already decided you were going to stay right there anyway. I just say thank you to the council for coming to a special meeting. This is good to get started. And with that, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.